Hey guys, my name is Jean, and I decided to start a YouTube vlog about my weight loss journey because I've really actually enjoyed all of the YouTubers who are currently online talking about their weight loss surgery and sort of their experiences, and I wanted to help contribute to that, and I also feel like. While I love all of the YouTubers out there who are talking about their experiences, it's mostly women. And so I figured I would add a male voice to the chorus. I don't know that my perspective will be entirely different, but it's still something that I think is worth doing. So today I'm going to talk about where I'm at in my in my progress towards surgery. I haven't had surgery yet, and I'm just going to talk about all the steps that I've been through so far and the ones that I have ahead of me before I'm cleared for surgery. So I guess I'll start with today is October 12th, 2017. I currently weigh about 295 pounds. I'm like 5'11", so that puts my BMI around 40 or 41. I also have obstructive sleep apnea, and so my BMI being 40 or above, and this comorbidity of sleep apnea makes me eligible for weight loss surgery, according to my health insurance provider and also the doctors that I'm working with. So when I decided to really research weight loss surgery, what I did is I had a friend who had weight loss surgery. I asked her for her doctor's information, and I met with him. He was a private doctor. It ended up not being a great fit for me, or for whatever reason, and maybe I'll get into that in a future video blog. I just felt like I wasn't totally comfortable moving forward with him, so I looked into some other options. I attended an initial weight loss seminar at UCLA. They have a weight loss surgery center. I forget the official name. And then I also, because I live in LA, I went to Cedars Sinai Medical Center, and I took a bariatric seminar there. Between the two seminars, I actually liked both of them. Both of them had staff members from their respective weight loss centers present, and they're very thorough. I found it incredibly reassuring and enlightening, both of them. And ultimately, I decided to move forward with Cedars Sinai. And, part of it is just, both institutions, both UCLA and Cedars, have really great reputations and are just world-class hospitals. But actually, the reason it was kind of hard to choose, so I decided to go with Cedars because A, they're closer to where I live, and then B, I have a friend who has dealt with the UCLA health system, and he had a really tricky experience with all their billing, and it turned into this big saga, and they were going, it almost impacted his credit. And whereas my primary care provider, physician, is part of the Cedars network, and so, and I really like him, and it felt like probably just the smarter move because all my medical records were already online with Cedars to just go forward with Cedars, and I haven't had any billing issues either, so it was Cedars that I decided on. So when I went to the first seminar for Cedars Sinai, they give everyone who attends this packet, and inside the packet is just, it's actually a printout of, if you can see it here, it's a printout of the PowerPoint presentation that they present to you. And the PowerPoint presentation walks through, and all these seminars I think are really similar regardless of which hospital you're to, but maybe they're different. I only went to the UCLA one and to the Cedars one. They talk about the different kinds of surgery, the benefits of the surgery. Obviously they're very pro-surgery, but I didn't feel like they were trying to sell me, but they were very pro-surgery. They talk about how this is like the one surgery you can have that is almost guaranteed to extend the length of your life. And then just all the different things that you have to take into account, like the preparation for surgery, and also the changes in your diet that you're gonna have to make afterwards, and the ramifications of each surgery. I'm sorry if you can hear I have a little French bulldog and she's running around at my feet, so if you hear weird snorting noises, it's my little Frenchie Gertie, who is my best friend. So anyhow, after the seminar, I was originally gonna go with this other surgeon at Cedars, but then another surgeon presented at the seminar, and I actually really liked him, and I felt like I connected with him, and I really trusted him. So I ended up changing my appointment so that I could meet with the surgeon who presented at my seminar. His name is Dr. Shohead. I can't pronounce it correctly, but he works at Cedars, and I'm really excited to be working with him. So after you do the initial seminar, then you schedule your surgical consult with the surgeon. So I did that. That happened a couple weeks later. He came in. He actually had an intern or a medical student with him. We talked about surgery. He definitely said that I was a good candidate for it based off of my weight and the health issues that I have as a result of the weight. And so it was all very straightforward. They weighed me because technically that first, sorry, I'm petting the dog. That first appointment marks the beginning of your medically supervised weight loss program, or at least according to Cedars and according to my health insurer. I have Aetna in California. So we did that. The funniest part of that for me was quite simply, we just have a good, meaningful discussion. It's very productive, and I ask him some questions. We go back and forth, and then at the end, he's about to leave, and he's like, "Oh wait, lift up your shirt. I need to make sure that your stomach is good for operating on." So, here I am having this conversation with this guy, and it's sort of, and I'm just dressed the way I am now. And then I just kind of have to awkwardly pull up my shirt and show my stomach. And then he looked at it and he was like, "Yeah, it looks great. It's a good canvas for my work." So that was kind of funny. So that officially started my medically supervised weight loss program. That was somewhere around, I think, August 9th, August 10th. As soon as I was done with that, I went out into the main office area at the hospital within the weight loss clinic, and I scheduled all of my follow-up appointments right away for the next 3 months, which I actually really appreciated. So I know I really have a clear understanding of timing with regard to this 3-month window and what needs to happen when. So I had to schedule a blood test. I had to schedule 2 meetings with a nutritionist. I had to schedule a psych evaluation. And then I also had to make sure that I was signed up for at least 1 support group meeting. The blood testing I did at a separate lab offsite, and I'd just gotten my blood tested actually from my yearly physical a few months prior, so I didn't have to go through the whole battery of blood tests because I already had relevant and recent blood results. But what I did, there were some blood tests that I needed that weren't covered through my physical. I took those, the results came back, and for me, all of my blood levels were pretty good, but the one thing that they needed to address is that I actually have a vitamin D deficiency. The nurse that I talked to said that that's pretty common, and so they prescribed these little green pills that are they're like gel green pills that I take 2 a week, and they're just jam-packed, or maybe 3 a week. 2 a week. And it's like an 8-week program, so I'm actually almost done taking them. I just have 1 or 2 of the green pills left to take, and they're just packed full of vitamin D. And so hopefully if I have to get my blood tested again, or hopefully that's sort of taken care of that deficiency, so I'll be ready for that post-surgery. Knock on wood that happened, that I actually get to surgery, which I believe I will. Then I met with the nutritionist. The nutritionist that I dealt with is based at Cedars Sinai. She's a very lovely person, and it was an hour-long appointment, and we talked about what we think my eating issues are, and am I overeating? Am I not getting this, that, and the other thing? She also gave me these really nifty sort of snack and breakfast options, which is really helpful, and just ideas for how to eat appropriately. She encouraged me to use a fitness tracker to track my calories. I'm actually using the MyFitnessPal app, which I really like. And then just, there was just more additional information about, like this one is this is sort of like a worksheet that helps me like plot out what I'm going to eat for the day. And, my meal plan is really, I think it's pretty standard, but I have to eat 5 times a day and replace at least one meal with a protein shake, and then just more balanced meal and snack ideas. I actually scanned these into my computer, so if you're curious to see what they recommend, this is information about protein drinks. If you're curious to see what they recommend, I can email you those scans, I think. I hope that's kosher. And the other thing that they do, actually, that I forgot to mention at the surgical consult is after you're done talking to the surgeon, the front desk will give you this big binder. And this binder is really great. It's kind of like, it's really everything I think you need to know with regard to weight loss surgery. They've got, information about each of the doctors. They've got, they describe all the different surgical options. They talk about like your hospital stay, what to bring to the hospital admitting procedures, your discharge information and what to eat and drink afterwards, potential issues after surgery, more information about like what kind of vitamins you need to be taking, and after surgery, like exercise, like how to do little exercises. It's all, it feels really comprehensive. This is the slide that tells you not to get pregnant for at least 1.5 years after you have bariatric surgery, which is not an issue I have to grapple with, but still happy that I know that. So this binder, I really appreciate that they put this together and they have this. Like you can see the reflection of my iPhone on the binder cover. I think it's really great and it's really well done, and it reassures me that Cedars is trying to think comprehensively about how I should be approaching this entire journey. I wish I had a better word than journey, because journey feels a little too sentimental for me. So you're supposed to bring this to like every appointment. I keep forgetting to, and it's never really an issue, but I'm going to try to remember to bring it to my final appointment with my nutritionist. So after meeting with the nutritionist, this week I did 2 things. They also asked me to get an upper endoscopy, so they put me under, they snaked that laparoscopic thing down my throat and took photos, and then they found a couple of funky things in my endoscopy, and I'll probably talk about that later. Nothing terrible, but it was a little bit of, I'm glad I know what I know. And I'm sure my surgeon is glad that he knows what he knows, but nothing super serious. And I've probably already made it sound like stranger than it really needs to sound. And then, so the psych evaluation is also the next step, if I didn't mention that already. I am such a Los Angelino, and I'm, a liberal and all that stuff. And so, I go to therapy at least once a week. I love therapy. It's really good for me. It's been really helpful. And, I deal with all sorts of issues, and I just can't say enough good things about therapy. Therapy isn't for everyone, and I understand that. It actually is for everyone, I would argue, but I understand why people, don't go to therapy. But so I kind of wasn't intimidated by the psych evaluation, because I feel really comfortable talking about mental health issues, and it ended up being kind of a big nothing. I mean, I'm glad that they do it, but I'm sure it's just to, having a psychologist evaluate you just to make sure that, you know what you're getting into, because obviously this weight loss surgery is like a big deal, and you should know what you're getting into. So, it's good that it's done, but I feel like I passed my psych evaluation with flying colors, as I suspect like 99% of people do. And, you know, but I think it was really helpful. And then finally, I've been to 2 support groups. So I'm only required to go to one. And they happen like once every other week. It's like the second and fourth Thursdays of every month. It's the pre-op support group. So the pre-op support group is held at Cedars, and in a conference room. It's a small conference room, and there may be like a dozen people who show up, and then it's moderated by a really lovely woman who is a psych graduate student from Pepperdine, and we go around and introduce ourselves, and then people just it's sort of an open forum. I mean, the woman who moderates the group also has a PowerPoint presentation that she walks you through. And I mean, I think there are pluses and minuses. I'm glad that I've been going but it's a little frustrating because there are a dozen people in there, and everyone, you know, there are all these diverse people from all sorts of different backgrounds. And so, you know, like there was one woman today in the support group who like was shocked to learn that like she's not going to be able to eat like tubs and tubs of mayonnaise, and that was like a big roadblock for her, and she discovered it in real time in the support group. So we kind of spent like 15 minutes talking about that, and I think there was probably value talking about that for her and for other people in the support group. But for me, you know, if I never had mayonnaise again for the rest of my life, it really wouldn't be a big deal. And I wasn't surprised to learn that, you know, you have to limit your mayonnaise intake. But so it's a little odd because maybe I'm just so used to therapy that where it's all about me for that entire hour. It's a little odd when people really dive into these topics that maybe you just don't really care that much about. But ultimately, I do think it's good to go and just sort of hear other people talk about their experiences so far. In addition to people who are pre-operative, they also have a couple of curated post-operative people who come, and the people who come to my group are these really lovely women. One woman has actually written a book about bariatric surgery and diabetes. And she's really gung-ho, and I really enjoy her, and she's got a lot of spunk. And then there's another woman there who's really lovely too, who is also a nurse who's gone through this. So they're really great about like when people bring up like, what, you know, like I can't have like carbonated drinks anymore. Like, what's that about? And they sort of like, they help reassure people like, look, it's not that big of a deal. And, you know, once you've had this surgery, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. These are what they say the rules are, and these are, but, you know, this is where I sort of bend the rules and where I don't bend the rules. And so I do think it's ultimately helpful, even though it's sort of like selfishly, like I wish the support group was just a forum for me to ask everyone questions and that I didn't have to sit there and listen to people ask questions that I don't care about. But the world does not revolve around me. So I soldier through it. So those are really, you know, I've gone through all the steps that I've been through so far for weight loss surgery. So it's October 12th, and my final appointment is with my nutritionist on November 10th. So it's technically less than a month away, which is very exciting. You know, the one rule that my nutritionist laid out for me is she's not making me lose weight, a set amount of weight, but she did say that she will not clear me for surgery if I gain weight between, you know, the last appointment and this appointment. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I've been sticking to the diet pretty well. I had some like dental surgery last week, so I kind of use that as an excuse to go off the diet for a couple days because I was, you know, my mouth is actually, I still have stitches, which I'm getting out. I'm getting them taken out tomorrow. But long story short, I'm not really concerned that I'm going to gain weight, and I think I've actually lost a few pounds. So I think everything will go ahead as planned. But long story short, it's been a real, you know, it's a little time consuming, to be perfectly honest. And even though Cedars is close to where I live-ish, it's kind of a trek to get to it in the middle of the day, which I have to do from work. So you know, it just requires me to be organized and plan. And I hate leaving the office early but it's forced me to do that, which is maybe a good thing to force myself to leave the office while it's still daylight outside. So I guess that really wraps this first video blog. I'm looking at my iPhone display and it says this video is like 20 minutes long. So it feels like this is a little long, but I just wanted to make sure I covered everything, and I'll try to do another update, you know, in the next few days. And I'm trying to think of topics. And if you have any questions about topics related to weight loss surgery, at least for preoperative people, you know, always feel free to leave a comment. I'm sure this video will be seen by like 3 people, but, you know, I just wanted to put this out there anyhow, and with the hope that maybe it'll help someone, and, you know, go from there. So anyhow, thanks guys for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to posting again soon.